Go.
Good morning, this is Developing Story. My name is Oduayo Soya. The Ondo State government is set to commence the disbursement of scholarships, bursaries, and financial aid to Ondo indigent students enrolled in tertiary institutions nationwide. The flag-off ceremony, about now holding at the Cocoa Conference Hall, Governor's Office, Alagbaka Akure, supports the government's ease agenda aimed at fostering strategic partnerships, enhancing quality education, and improving educational outcomes across the country. The disbursement follows the state's approved budget of 350 million naira for the 2025 scholarship and bursary program, benefiting about 12,000 students. The scholarships cover various categories, including medical students, law students, and students with disabilities. The Ondo State government has renewed its dedication to advancing quality education by improving data management and by professionalizing teaching. Deputy Governor Olayide Adelami made the statement as the state welcomed delegates for the 69th National Council on Education meeting held in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Education. Government House correspondent Zema Ibiemi reports that the meeting focused on the theme quality education, data, and professionalization of teaching, tools for enhanced national development.
The 69th National Council on Education meeting taking place in Akure gathered top education policymakers, administrators, and stakeholders from across the country to explore ways to improve the country's education system. Deputy Governor Olayide Adelami, standing in for Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa and officially opening the session, affirmed the state's dedication to enhancing teaching quality and making better use of education data to guide policy decisions.
Education remains the most reliable instrument for social, economic, and technological transformation of any society. The government of Ondo State recognizes the centrality of education in sustainable development. This has been the driving force propelling policy reforms and implementation in the education sector of the state. Efforts have been directed at enhancing access and quality of education in Ondo State. Such efforts include, but not limited to, investment in digital education infrastructure, such as gradual introduction of smart classrooms, digital literacy programs, and technology-based learning tools to prepare our learners for the demands of the 21st century knowledge economy.
He stressed that professionalizing teaching is essential for enhancing learning outcomes and promoting sustainable national development. Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Education, Abel Eniton, and Administrative Secretary of Ondo State Ministry of Science and Technology, Akindele Ige, urged greater cooperation between state and federal governments to reform the education sector.
Without accurate, timely, and reliable data, policy decisions risk being driven by assumptions rather than evidence. Similarly, without a committed, well-trained, and adequately motivated teaching workforce, even the best policies will yield limited results.
The meeting of permanent secretaries provides a vital platform for aligning administrative priorities, reviewing the progress of policy implementation, and recommending actionable strategies ahead of the plenary session of the National Council on Education. It also offers an opportunity for knowledge exchange, partnership building, and the harmonization of policies that can drive sustainable educational reform.
Delegates are expected to evaluate current education policies, consider new models for data-driven planning, and propose actionable steps to enhance the quality and effectiveness of the education sector. Tulilope Oyibode, Osrc News.
And to Bayelsa State, where the governor, Doye Diri, has dumped the People's Democratic Party for the ruling All Progressives Congress, describing his former party as a sinking ship. Vice President Kashim Shettima led the APC delegation to Yenagwa to receive the governor into the party at a colorful ceremony at the Samson Siasia Sports Stadium. Also present were President of the Senate, Gatswila Pabio, and Governors Lucky Aiyedatiwa of Ondo State, Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, Sheriff Oborori of Delta, Hope Uzodima of Imo, and Umo Eno of Akwa Ibom State. Diri's defection, coming ahead of the 2027 general elections, makes him the first PDP governor to join the APC this year, following similar moves by Obo Revori, Eno, and Enugu's Peter Mba. Diri said he decided to save Bayelsa from sharing in the fate of what he described as a dying opposition party. In his remarks, Vice President Shettima described Diri's defection as a homecoming and commended him for putting development above partisanship. Meanwhile, political parties and their candidates participating in the November 8, 2025 Anambra State governorship election have signed a peace accord pledging to uphold non-violence and respect the outcome of the poll. The Peace Pact, chaired by former head of state, retired General Abdusalami Abubakar, and Bishop Matthew Kuka, was signed at the International Convention Center, Oka. The event was attended by representatives of the Independent National Electoral Commission, security agencies, traditional rulers, and candidates of major political parties, including the All Progressives Congress, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, All Progressives Congress, People's Democratic Party, Labour Party, African Democratic Congress, Accord Party, and others. INEC Chairman Professor George Amupito, who was in Oka for a stakeholders meeting, reaffirmed the Commission's readiness to deliver a credible, transparent, and peaceful election. Amupito said INEC had addressed the perennial challenge of logistics, adding that all election materials would arrive at polling units by 7 a.m., while voting would commence by 8:30 a.m. without delay. Inspector General of Police Kayode Betokun, represented by Deputy Inspector General of Police Ben Okoro, assured of adequate security across all 21 local government areas. On the foreign scene, Peru's government says it has cut off diplomatic relations with Mexico for granting asylum to a former prime minister being investigated over the alleged 2022 coup attempt by then President Pedro Castillo. Former Minister Hugo de Zale said that the alleged co-author of the coup attempt by former President Pedro Castillo is being granted asylum at the Mexican embassy residence in Peru. He said that due to the repeated instances in which the current and former presidents of Mexico have interfered in Peru's internal affairs, the Peruvian government has decided to sever diplomatic relations with Mexico. The move drew fierce criticism from Mexico City, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs calling Peru's decision excessive and disproportionate in response to a legitimate act by Mexico and in accordance with international law. And the worker who was pulled from the rubble of a medieval tower that partly collapsed in Rome has died. According to authorities, the man, a Romanian national, had remained conscious during the long rescue operation before being hospitalized in critical condition. It was gathered that he had been helping to renovate the Torre dei Conti, which partially collapsed yesterday, sending rubble into the street and a thick white cloud of dust into the air. A spokesman for the fire service stated that 3 other workers were evacuated from the site, with 1 in critical condition. The tower is in a busy area just off the Imperial Forum and close to the Colosseum, Italy's top tourist site. And that's the news. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning.
Go.